Welcome back to Real Talk with Susan Stone and Kristina Supler. We are full-time moms and attorneys bringing our student defense legal practice to life with real, candid conversation.
Susan, ever since the Super Bowl.
Oh no, don't say it.
I have a secret guilty pleasure. I have to confess to you and our listeners out there.
Oh my God, here it's coming.
I am totally, completely obsessed with the Dunkin' Donuts commercials, the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon commercials. Did you see those during the Super Bowl?
Okay, not only did I see them, but I saw us and Ben and Matt.
That's what I thought.
I know.
What is it about those two? I was so drawn to it. I can't stop watching when they're walking in, and then he says, "We got touchdown Tommy on the keys."
You love that line.
I love that line.
Tommy on the keys. Okay, because here's what it is. They've been together a long time, working and collaborating.
Friends. Yep.
We're not childhood friends, but
we're not.
But it's been
a minute.
It's been a second. Collaborating.
Mm-hmm. Creativity.
And you know they drive each other crazy, which we do sometimes.
We do. But there's humor there. I can't even tell you how much it made me laugh when Matt Damon looks at Ben Affleck and he's like, "How do you like them donuts?"
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, the line I loved is, "Sometimes it's really hard to be your friend." Or, "Remember I would do anything for you? This is anything." And I know those moments because in our working relationship and our friendship, we ask an absolute a lot from each other.
Oh yeah. It's been quite a journey we've been on for the past, I don't even know how long it's been.
For the listeners out there and those of you who are in Greek organizations, I hard rushed Supler to be my law partner. I remember saying, "Join me in this practice," and you're like, "Well, I still want my criminal defense," and you still do.
I still do.
You do.
I do.
But mostly we represent students out there, and we do handle a lot of criminal defense, and we still deal with sex issues. But
all day, every day.
It was a hard sell getting you there, but we made it, and it's been actually almost 10 years.
So why are we talking about this today? What is the point of this episode, of this topic? Our listeners are like, what? We're going from Dunkings and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck to the two of you?
Or Duncan?
It's Dunkings. Kings. Because they're kings. I swear, folks, you're really smart.
I just feel like, what? It's Dunkin' Donut.
Yeah, it is. But in the commercial, they were getting creative. Okay.
Guys, that's what life is like in the office. And why?
And that, by the way, I knew I met her and I said, she's the one for me.
Absolutely, guys. Please stop. I'm menopausal. I'll pee in my pants. Okay. So, here's the thing, guys.
For real. In all
seriousness, we do handle your serious legal issues, but it's hard work, and you really have to grind a lot of hours, and there's got to be a lot of trust in the person you work with, and there's got to be a lot of synergy. And I think that we're doing this episode to show that we really are more than law partners, that we like being together.
Absolutely. This is sort of a behind the scenes episode, if you will. And I mean, I think that aside from, our spouses and significant others and friends and family members, people who know us really closely, some people are surprised to hear and learn of how much time we spend together. And we always say, well, it's a good thing we really like each other because our work is grueling. There's so many hours and traveling and dealing with tough topics. It's important that we have a really good relationship with each other to get through it all.
Yeah, we don't get enough time being buds. We try, guys.
I agree.
But we really don't, because at the end of the day, we want to go home and be with our friends and our family and get a little break from each other. But it has almost been 10 years.
I know. That's crazy to think about. So let's go back in the time machine and tell our listeners. Take it back.
Get a little Austin Powers on you. Yeah.
Let's talk about how we met. Like, what was our first encounter?
We met.
You take it.
So it's funny. I was working at my old law firm, and Christina's boss at her firm actually merged into us for a hot sec.
That's right.
Hot sec.
Hot sec. I just had my second child.
I can't believe that.
A lot of professional transition going on, but,
And we're talking high school for your oldest, and that little one is about to become his own young king in the theater.
Yes, he is, a man of the art.
A man of the art.
But yeah, I mean, I remember it was, like 2013-ish, maybe even further back than that.
It was a little bit closer to when the Obama regulations came out in 2011. That's scary, guys.
I know. And I remember I'm plugging away, doing my thing. Susan's in her world of at that point, general litigation and special education.
Well, and I was in the beginning of starting my own practice, and I knew I didn't want to do it alone. I knew I needed a buddy with me because it's just, let's face it, it's more fun. Life is more fun with a friend. And we had a project. A case came in that required both skill sets.
Well, I remember I got a call for a student at a very reputable university in the area, a very infamous school in terms of Title IX. And I got the call saying, hey, do you do Title IX work? My son's got this issue. He's been accused of sexual assault. And at the time, I vaguely knew what Title IX was, but I knew that I knew sexual assault, right? And so I'm like,
that just came out so awful. Like, you just can't get away from.
I know. You try to avoid it. The puns, they're just right there, and you fall right into
Keep it clean. This is a family show.
But I remember talking to you and saying, Susan, I have this case. I feel like you would be, a good person to partner with on it. And you're like, yeah, I've done some of those as well. And the rest is history.
That's it. And, what's interesting to talk about when we get tense in those moments of tension, it's usually fear. When we get nervous or scared.
Uncertainty, fear.
Or exhaustion.
That too.
I do have to share a story with what a good law partner Kristina Supler is and what a good friend Supler is. Oh my gosh. 2 weeks ago, I got hit with the virus. It was one of the nastiest viruses in my life. I will say for me, it was worse than COVID.
You were so sick. I don't know the last time I've seen you that ill. I mean, you were writhing in pain. You were literally lying on the floor of your office.
Oh yeah, guys, I was in a dress with heels.
A Prada dress, I might add.
It was a beautiful vintage Prada, and I had a very nice spike black heel, little Lubu, little red showing on the bottom. Loved it. And I was in so much pain and I was sweating, and we actually had a very important 3:00 meeting and I had to be there. I laid on my floor because I was not going to miss that meeting.
Nope.
Holding my stomach, got up, turned my camera on and would turn my camera off to puke. It was so ugly. And then you drove me home and I wore 2 masks and then you got sick. So that's just like crazy dedication.
And I'm still on an antibiotic.
Just the gift that keeps on giving.
That's right.
So what we get out of it is really important. I think the feeling of you always have my back and I always have your back. And
absolutely, because I mean, so much of our work is rooted in absolute uncertainty, and there's very little like black and white, clear answers for our cases. And so you're sort of working in a lot of gray and working off of instinct. And sometimes you're not sure what to do, and clients are upset. Everyone's upset. It's tough emotionally. And it's so rewarding to have someone there by your side go through it with you.
Well, you do take it for granted. You forget.
Oh my gosh.
It becomes your reality. But, look, we see clients at our worst, and people say and do things when they're in crisis that they would regret later, or they feel like I've got to take it out on somebody, or, not everybody's so nice. Newsflash. I tell that to my kids all the time. Not everybody's nice.
This is one of life's big lessons for many of our clients, unfortunately.
Interesting that I want to go back to Matt and Ben. Yeah, I feel like I know you, Matt and Ben, if you're out there listening
to this. Matt and Ben, yeah.
Do you think they're going to listen to this podcast?
I'm sure they will. And they probably already know me because I went to Boston University and they're Boston people. So, I feel a connection, right?
Okay. That's true. Yeah. Hello. And maybe J-Lo. Do you drink that
Do you feel a connection with J-Lo?
Absolutely not. Even a little connection. But I love you. I love you out there. But we have sort of merged because I would say when we began, you were always much more structured. So I would want, when we started podcasting, I was podcast, and you'd be like, we've got to get ready. No. We've got to do it now. I think now I take a little more time, and you've got a lot more of that spontaneity. And we just, over the years, I think honestly, age has mellowed me, and you've gotten a little more spark. Maybe because you're coming into your own.
That's it. That's right. It's funny. You always say we're just like an old married couple. But
it's true.
It's true. It really is true. We can finish each other's sentences. We do mind melding. Remember back in the day when we did improv lessons together?
Do you think Matt and Ben did improv to get ready for the Dunking? Is it really Dunking? I'm stuck on it. I can't get off of it, guys. Who knew? You're such a moron.
Anyone who watched the commercials, but that's okay.
I was very focused on Tom Brady, okay?
Touchdown Tommy on the keys.
He's kind of cute.
That's my line. I love that line.
Can't let it go. Anyways.
So let's talk about, why we get this question a lot. How do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? And how do you answer that?
Oh, it's a higher calling for me.
I totally agree.
Because I'm sure that I would be doing a little better if we had gone into corporate law or tax or one of those like non-sex things that, people do in big firms. But we get the privilege of helping people at their lowest point in their life. And we have the privilege when you are being accused or you've gone through something on a college campus. It does feel life-altering, and it is life-altering. And to see younger people through the other side is an honest calling and a privilege. And it's exhausting. It's been life-changing for me, and it's given meaning to my career.
I would say for myself, I agree it's something you're called to do. But also for me, I would add that there's just something, I think it probably does go back to my prior criminal defense roots, and that I just can't help but root for the underdog. There's someone in a room full of people and no one else likes them, wants to talk to them. People are giving them the ugly eye. Like, that's the person I just gravitate towards and I want to help. And I think particularly with students and these crazy, awful rules and regulations that surround these fake court proceedings and then other campus conduct cases, watching young adults in these awful moments, and they have to advocate for themselves. They have to essentially be lawyers, and they're not, they're like literally 12. It's heartbreaking. And I just feel so passionate about helping these people get through these awful moments in their lives.
Did you like talking about sex? Come on,
I might. There's something I truly enjoy talking to teens and college kids about their social lives, their personal lives, sex, sure. It's so funny though, because I remember back in the day when we first started and we'd sort of have this stiffness, no pun intended, to talking about.
I don't believe you just said that.
To talking about though, the sexual encounter, where things went wrong, so on and so forth. And, pre-COVID days, obviously, before there were virtual meetings and sitting in the conference room and having these terrified kids look at us and they're like, oh my gosh, how can I say these body part words in front of these older women? But I don't know. There's just something, I think we're both very comfortable with the topic.
And guys, college kids still, very few use the proper body parts. We still hear boobies and titties instead of breasts. It's true. We do.
It is true. And aside from slang terms, I think many of them just literally don't know the right names for parts.
Well, that's read our book. Yes, your kid. Read the book.
That's where I'm going with that. How did you read my mind?
I know.
Listeners out there, check out Yes, Your Kid.
So I want to end with sharing the best skill I've learned from you, and that is how to deliver really difficult news to people in a way that's kind, firm, and compassionate. Because in the olden days, when I first started out, I would just look at a kid and say, you smoke too much weed, you gotta stop. And
you did.
I did.
You did.
And
yes.
It was true, guys. I just tell the truth. Preach.
Well, that was the thing, is that your messages, they were right. They were spot on.
Oh, yes, they were.
It's hard for kids and parents especially the parents to hear. Because as parents, think about it, I can appreciate this now that I'm a mother. You're obviously a mother. It's, we view our children's successes and struggles in some respects as our own or because of us. And I don't mean that like taking credit for it, but rather if it's like, okay, how did I screw up as a parent? Where did I go wrong? Did I cause this? And I think that's part of the reason why it's so hard for so many parents to hear.
Oh, I still get the message, guys. If your kid's drinking too much, I am going to tell you.
Well, you are still Susan.
You got to be me. Got to be real. But I do it in a different way.
You do.
I lead you there.
Yes.
And so therefore, when the conclusion comes, it's not as much of a shock. And I learned skill from you. I learned it from you.
Oh, thank you. Well,
remember that commercial on drugs?
This is your brain on drugs?
Yeah, and the kid goes, where did you learn that? For the parent, I learned it from you.
Oh, I had forgotten that part of the commercial.
We're giving good lines.
I think, something that I have learned from you is the importance of just like when there's bad news, when there's something scary or something you're dreading, just hit it head on. Just deal with it. Like, okay, let's pick up the phone. Let's make the call. Let's have the meeting with the client. Let's be direct because, in reality, like the bad thing, it's not going to go away.
Yeah. I live by the motto, the only way out of hell is through. And I think that defines our relationship is that we walk through hell for our clients. We walk through hell every day and we do it together. So thank you.
Thanks, listeners. And Susan, thank you for being you.
You're welcome. It's really done, King.
It's done, King.
No, it's not done. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Real Talk with Susan and Kristina. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our show so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review so other people can find the content we share here. You can follow us on Instagram. Just search our handle @StoneSupler. And for more resources, visit us online at studentdefense.kjk.com. Thank you so much for being a part of our Real Talk community. We'll see you next time.